Gotta collect them all. Spacky bits. What's up, hobby maniacs? Rob Baer back again with you today, checking out the last 3 characters that you gotta catch for the Death Guard release. We've got the Plague Marine Icon Bearer, the Biologist Putra Fire, and last but certainly not least, the Plague Marine Champion with his little Pokemon helper, Mr. Sassmaster. Sassmaster 9000 right there. All 3 of these new releases are $25 US, and it's just your single kind of clamshell type configuration here. This particular one, the Plague Marine Champion, has I think 8. We'll go with 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope, that counts as 2. Has 8 components. It's on a 32mm base, as you would expect. But maybe the brighter star of this kit is the little Nurgling that's posing. I'm not an anthropologist, but I definitely know when somebody is presenting. So that little guy right there is definitely all about the sass. So here you can see the instructions for how it goes together, front and back torso. Then you've got a selection of heads, backpack, and shoulder pad, but it's definitely a 3D slice. Then you can put the shoulder parrot Nurgling and Mr. Sass himself onto the base if you so desire. Now, there's no specific special rules for the Plague Champion himself. He's just an upgrade for the normal Death Guard sprue. But he is pretty cool, and you can give him, I mean, obviously, I guess he comes armed with the Power Fist right there that you would come to expect. But hey, it is what it is. I suppose you could give him a Plague Knife or something if you really wanted to, but at the end of the day, why bother? He's coming how he is, so you should probably field him that way. Unfortunately, he is not editable in that configuration. And here's the sprue itself. You can see the back has a little bit of a faux cape. Then he's got his bolter strapped onto his backpack. There's the little wispy kind of Hadouken guy that's holding a ball of what looks to be energy or perhaps poo. A head here that's exposed that has a crazy bone horn, or you could go with the normal head right there with the eyeball. And then you've got Mr. Sass himself, which is a great little bit. If people don't use that, you should definitely scoop it up if you see them picking up this model here. And then the front plate itself with a Power Fist and some chainmail and things like that. So very cool, very dynamic, very detailed kit. It's nice to see what Games Workshop can do with the normal Foot Troop, or really isn't Foot Troop, it's more of a character model. But it's nice to see what they can do with these models that are way smaller than the Terminators and stuff like Mortarion. Next up is one of the components of the great grenade bomb, the Biologist Putra Fire. Highly anticipated kit here. This little guy, $25, of course, a 10-part kit from Games Workshop. Let's take a closer look at that one. Again, as you would expect, it's going to be a front and back with a separate leg, separate arm, separate head, and 2-part kind of head thing with some hoses, and then the blight racks on the back, which give him that cool grenade ability that everybody's so thrilled about, which we'll talk about here in our rules breakdown, since he actually does have rules. Here he is, closer look at him. You don't need to attach the wiring or the respirator to his head if you don't want to. It's perfectly okay. There he is. But if you want to, hoses go here. You've got the front of your torso, your second leg there that's going to contain the cape. Then you've got your arm, crazy needle gun thing, I guess, separate shoulder pad that you could theoretically change out if you wanted to. You could even change out the arms if you wanted to, I suppose, at the end of the day, right? Then just the racks, I guess, kind of socket in at some point, which we're about to see here. and the front of the torso all good to go right there. Now, overall, let's talk about his rules. Here's the biologist Putra Fire's rules. He is worth taking if you plan to do the Blight Bombardment, which I believe costs 1 command point to activate, and that's where everybody can throw a grenade in a squad instead of just one. And by doing so, of course, the Blight grenades are going to get D6 attacks. So, you know, you got 20 dudes. If you put them in a squad, well, you can do the math on 20 times D6. You're going to get a lot of attacks. Remember, you can pop the Veterans of the Long War stratagem and get +1 to wound, making it so that his normal ability is amplified. Of course, you're increasing the strength and damage of all Blight grenades by 1. So now they become a, 2 damage, neg 1 AP? No. A strength 4, 2 damage grenade. While a unit is within 3 of this model, each wound roll of 6 made while attacking with a Blight grenade inflicts a mortal wound on the target. So if you're +1 to wound, you're basically getting mortal wounds on a 5. So, like I said, 20 attacks times each being able to throw 20 attacks in D6, and then each of those rolling a 5 or a 6, getting mortal wounds. I believe you are causing around 10 to 12, I think it is, mortal wounds for every 20 dudes that you take. And on top of that, you still have your normal wound rolls that are going to be popping off as well. So lots of combos here. And then there are no slouches in combat either, because you can play Blades of Putrefaction on them, which is a psychic power, and then they're actually going toe-to-toe in combat. And remember, because they have the Death to the False Emperor rule, on a 6, they're triggering more attacks in combat. So there's all sorts, or more hits. So there's all sorts of layers of combos what the Death Guard can do with these things, but you just got to have the command points available. Biologist Putra Fire, 74 points. You might want to take 2 in your army in case one gets sniped out. Not always able to protect him, unfortunately, from sniper weapons. Definitely worth taking. Cool little abilities here and there. Alright, next up, last but certainly not least, as I put that away, is the cool Plague Marine Icon Bearer, which, you know, is just going to give a neg-1 leadership bubble from 6 inches from this guy, or from this unit, but he just looks so darn cool. Why wouldn't you want this guy right here? $25 kit, 5 pieces, going to come with your 32mm base. And pretty self-forward kit, front, back. The leg is going to be on each half, both the front and the back. Then you've got a right arm, a left arm, an actual back to the backpack itself. And that's it. It goes together easy peasy. Very simple kit in and of itself right here to put together. But it looks so fresh. Again, very cool styling. On the standard, there's all sorts of pitting and poxes. You've got skulls and sensors. Even instead of the wing motif, which the kind of the whole thing is a winged motif, it's got the little Plague Guard helmet motif popping off as well. Extra rounds, some wiring on the front here. There's the bolter on the front. This guy's serious business, you can tell, with his crotchal plate right here. Standard helm, Death Guard helm with some sort of snoot or mouth right there. Everything is greatly detailed. You got some pitting, you got some poxes, same with the sword over here and everything like that. It's looking good, some chain detail and such. So overall, everything looks pretty fresh. It's just a little unconventional with the extra piece there for the backpack that's going to be going in there. So overall, I think this is I think these are 3 cool releases. But for $25 each, you're definitely going to want to pick and choose which ones you get for your army. I think overall, most general use one probably will see a lot of play is this guy. But then I could see folks picking up this champion just to paint him. I mean, if you're going to pick one model up that's remotely affordable, it might be, even though it's $25, it might be this guy to paint just because of his sassy little Nurgling friend. And then this guy may not see as much sales as the other two, I suppose. So at the end of the day, they all have their use, but maybe a couple are better than others right there. So that's it for this one, folks. If you like these fair and honest unboxings of Games Workshop and other wargaming products, make sure you subscribe to this channel and head on over to thelongwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports. We just did a great Mortarion and Death Guard battle report versus forces of the Imperium, featuring their grenade mechanic of the biologist Putra Fire there. So become a veteran of the Long War today.